Okay, let's create objects for environment. That will help to emphasize all the beauty of our product. And so that this reference does not interfere with us during creation, we can simply delete it. And our first object will be the simplest. And to create it, we will need a cube. And to make it easier to modify it, we can focus on it by pressing slash. And our first object will be board. So we just need to scale the object on the X, Y, and Z axis until we achieve the desired result.
Seeing monsters at your window. No, you can't sleep, you pretend though. You don't have to play the hero. 'Cause I got you like you got me.
And when we are happy and satisfied with achieved result, we need to add an array modifier. And in my case, change the factor from X to Y. And this will allow us to change the distance between the boards. And thanks to this modifier, we do not need to duplicate the boards one by one in a row, because if we increase the count, it will do it for us. And to make the boards more realistic, we need to add a bevel modifier. And then move it up. And for it to work correctly, we need to press Ctrl+A and apply the scale. And now we can change the bevel by decreasing the amount to a very low value. And this modifier will allow us to soften the edges. We also need to right click and shade smooth our object. And we have created the first object. Let's place it somewhere here for now. And now let's create a stone on which our product will stand. And for this we also need a cube. Let's focus on it, and for this cube we need to apply a subdivision modifier. And increase the level of viewports to 4 or 5. And now we need to add another modifier called displace. And click on new to create a new texture. And if we click on this icon, here we can change the texture that will be applied to our object. For our purpose, we need a Voronoi texture. And here we just need to increase the size of the texture to 1.12 or slightly more. And as you can see, it's not really in the shape of the rock. So let's go to the modifiers. And if we click here on this icon in the displace modifier, we will be able to freely change the object in edit mode without losing the texture. And all that remains for us to do is extrude, scale and move our object until we get a stone of the shape we like. We can also reduce the strength of the displacement. And the secret to attracting customers' attention with your render is that you need to highlight your product and give it an environment that will enhance its advantages. That is, an example with perfumes, it can be nature or a forest. In the case of drinks, it can be different fruits that will emphasize its taste and naturalness, and so on. And when you have created the perfect version of the stone for yourself and are happy with the results, you can go back to the scene by pressing slash again, and in my case, I need to rotate the stone by 90 degrees along the Z-axis. And also apply modifiers. Then right-click and shade smooth. If the object looks low poly, you can also add another subdivision modifier. And now let's modify the stone a little and make it more realistic. In this case, by making it flatter at the bottom. And for this we need to select these faces and then press Ctrl+ a few times and turn on proportional editing from above or pressing O. And after we have turned it on, we need to press S, Z and 0, which will flatten these vertices on the Z-axis. In my case I need to select a slightly smaller area, and now our stone will look more realistic, not overlap with other objects. Also, if your stone came out too big or small, you can modify it with proportional editing, which allows you to move, scale, or rotate vertices, affecting other vertices nearby. And to make it easier for us to move the perfume bottle, let's select the bottle along with text, and then by pressing Shift, we need to select the bottle itself and press Ctrl+P. Object keep transform, and this will allow us to attach the text to the bottle. And when we move the bottle, the text will also move with it. Also, let's make the surface more flat on the top of the stone so that it is convenient to put our product on it. You can also safely change objects here and there until you're sure that you are happy with the result. And when you're happy with the results, it's time to create a very important object to the scene, and this object is the camera. And if we press numpad 3, go to the front view, and then press Ctrl+Alt+Num0, we can change the view from the camera to the one that we see now in front of us. And when it comes to setting up the camera, we need to change a very important parameter by clicking on the camera icon, and here you need to change the focal length to 80 or 125, which is the standard for realistic photos or renders in camera for photography and in 3D. Also, if we go to output, we can change the resolution of the camera. In my case, I will change the resolution to 1080 by 1080 because I want to put it on my social media later. But you can use any resolution you want. And after that, we need to make sure that our product is in the center of the camera view. And also, if you press N, then go to view, and then check the box for camera to view, we can zoom in or out of the camera view using the mouse wheel. And now let's create branches that will highlight our product. And for this we need to create a Bezier curve. And rotate it 90 degrees, first along the Z-axis and then along the Y-axis. By pressing RZ90 and RY90. Let's move it somewhere here, so it will be visible from the camera view, and if we go to the edit mode, we will see such points similar to vertices. And all we need to do is just rotate, extrude, and duplicate them to get the shape of the branches. And when you're happy with the result, we can just duplicate this curve to the other side by pressing Shift+D. And also change it a little. Okay, after changing the shape of the branches, we need to add thickness. And for this, we need to go here, and opening the geometry, we need to scroll a little bit, and we need to increase the depth to 0.08. We also need to do the same for the other curve. And to continue changing the curves, we need to convert them into a mesh. And for this, we need to press the right mouse button, convert to mesh. We also need to do the same for the other curve. And if we go to the edit mode, we can see that the curve has successfully turned into a mesh. And as you may know, ropes usually do not have the same thickness at the beginning and at the end. At the end they are less thin. And to repeat this, let's select these vertices with the Alt key held down, press F to close the mesh, and using proportional editing, we just need to scale it down by adjusting the proportional editing radius with the mouse wheel. We can also rotate and move the vertices and change the shape of the branch. Also, don't forget to smooth everything, and if the branch is too low poly, we can add a subdivision surface. and we need to do the same for the neighboring branch. And on this, we finished creating objects for the environment and learned the secrets of using this object to attract attention. And in the next lesson, we will learn how to texture all the objects that we created, and we will also learn how to use the background to improve your render several times. So let's not waste a minute, and I see you in the next lesson.